Welcome everyone to this webinar conducted by ManuscriptEdit by Recipro. This hour-long webinar will consist of a 35 to 40 minutes long presentation followed by a question and answer session of around 15 to 20 minutes. I shall remind you to everyone that a very special discount code awaits you at the end of the presentation. So first, let me introduce myself. Hello everyone, I am Prerna and I shall be your host today for the discussion on effective strategies for writing and publishing literature reviews. Now, before anyone wants to write or decides to write a literature review, they must answer two basic questions. Why do I need to write a literature review, and how would or should it impact me or the society at large? Now, these two questions can be effectively answered by assessing a very personal, fundamental aspect of oneself, that is, their academic or professional experience. Now, one might be a PhD scholar, a master's student, or an apprentice researcher, that is, a novice researcher. Say, for example, a doctor who observed a very rare case in his patient and wants to know if there have been similar cases in the past and wishes to see if there are any possible interventions available for that particular case, or they simply wants to document this rare case for the future reference of doctors. Then there might be a professor, lecturer, established researcher, a member of a research group, or even medical practitioners. Now, the people on to the left of the screen are those who have no or very limited knowledge of their subject areas. But to the right, we have dignitaries or dignitaries who have a vast knowledge of their subject area and know a lot. So these two groups can be easily distinguished by their professional experience and not age as novices and veterans. Now, it is very important to note that this distinction is due to their professional experience and not because of their age. Say, for example, a veteran can suddenly find himself in the shoes of a novice when he decides to start an interdisciplinary subject area. Say, for example, a computational scientist develops an interest in, say, for example, a computational scientist develops an interest in neuroscience and wants to know more about it to design a novel interdisciplinary project. So he would have to start from scratch and understand the different aspects or the particular aspect of neuroscience that he wants to address. So he will not be a novice. Now let us compare the pros and cons of being a veteran or a novice while writing a review. So when you are a veteran, say for example a professor, you might have a very huge experience in the subject area that you want to address in the review. And because of the huge experience, you must have a very good background knowledge of the particular subject area. So you only need to update yourself with the recent breakthroughs and advances of the research area. And because this process is substantially becomes very easy for professors and veterans because they know the precise research question. That is, they know what they want to address. The novices, say for example, a PhD scholar, face problems or limitations in this area because they have no or limited experience in the subject that they are going to study in the future, and that's why they need to address comprehensively or thoroughly the research area that they want to address. and then they will be able to identify the gaps that have been left out from previous researches and move forward to formulate a research question that they can work on in the future. And this helps them to reduce the bias that that might creep into their research question because of previous knowledge or previous experience. Now, while publishing, veterans have a relatively seamless experience as compared to novices because they usually receive calls for invited reviews from established publishers, but a novice must identify an appropriate journal before starting to write a review to enhance their chances of publishing the review in the particular journal that they want to target. So, irrespective of being a veteran or a novice, the steps that one must follow to write a literature review remain the same. To write a literature review, one must always thoroughly conduct a literature survey of all the research that has already been done in the particular subject area. This should be done by first. This thorough literature survey can be done by presenting the research problem clearly. That is, if you know what you want to research on, then conducting a literature survey or finding the literature relevant studies of that research becomes easier and more comprehensive. Now, the literature or research articles that one obtains through the thorough literature survey must always be compared and contrasted. The literature that one obtains through the survey must be compared and contrasted for the various views provided in the literature. So, all the positive and negative aspects that have been presented in previous literature must be assessed properly by the author to write a proper literature review. The methodology and analysis sections of a literature review must always include all the instruments and equipment that have been used in the various studies that have already been conducted. This helps the author to delineate a particular methodology for future experiments. The author must prepare the title and abstract in such a manner that it becomes attractive for the audience that they want to target. This is because at first glance, the title and the abstract are the two things that a person goes through before proceeding to the complete review or a complete article. The introduction and the purpose for the main body of the review article must be comprehensive and must be understandable and very reliable on the information that is being input. The bibliography and appendices must be carefully revised again and again before publishing a particular review. All the references, all the articles that a person includes in his literature review must be cited properly. Citing a literature means providing the citing a literature means providing the particular person a reference for the particular article. The study's strengths and weaknesses must be summarized in such a way that it limits the bias or the correctness that might be forming in a literature review. So, for example, one might be more prone or one might want to show how important one's literature review is. So they might only be pointing out more of the strengths and less of the weaknesses, but that makes literature review more biased. So one must always try to limit the bias that they present in a literature review. A literature review must always be structured in a top-down pyramidal structure. This means that starting from a very general or generic information, one must move towards more specific information as one writes the literature review. That is from the introduction, which provides a complete background, towards the hypothesis statement. The categories of research or research studies must narrow down. I'll provide an example here to better understand this concept. Say, for example, one wants to write a literature review on colon cancer. So, for the introduction, they must start with a background on what cancer is, how how cancer occurs in people, and how it can be intervened, the possible ways in which it can be treated. And then they should move on to a narrower category, that is, what is colon cancer. The research articles will only address what colon cancer is and what work has been done on it. And then finally, they move closer to the hypothesis statement of how one can treat colon cancer in the future. So, we have a number of reviews, a number of types of reviews, but for literature reviews, here we will be discussing 4 types, that is a rapid review, a narrative review, a scoping review, a systematic review, and meta-analysis. Now, one must be wondering, why should we segregate or differentiate the types of reviews into different types? Well, there are certain factors that affect the content and that affect the content of a review, such as the projected length and content of the review. Say, for example, one wishes to write a mini review of around 3,000 words, or another author wishes to write an extensive review of around 8,000 to 9,000 words. The length is obviously different, and so will be the content. A mini review might have lesser information, and an extensive review will have more information in it. And this length and content also influence the expected time that is required to write a literature review. The length of a mini review, being short, will require less time, say for example 3 months, but an extensive review might require more time, like 9 months or even a year, because of the huge amount of data that needs to be compiled and analyzed before writing the review. Now, the length and the content both again influence the number of reviewers that need to be involved in writing the review. Say, for example, a reviewer wants to present existing literature simply by narrating what has been done. So he can do it single-handedly and will not require any assistance. But if there is a statistical analysis involved or a critical assessment of known literature is required, more than one people for reviewing will be required. The methodological details that are required in a reviews also influence the type of review. Say, for example, in a systematic review, the methodology used is very critical, it's very comprehensive. But in a narrative review, there are no methodological details required. The required levels of comprehensiveness or understanding that one wants to show in their literature review is also one of the influencing factors. Say, for example, in a narrative review, one can introduce different aspects of the subject. And I'm sorry. So, and there are different levels of comprehensiveness that are addressed in different types of reviews. There is the factor of risk of bias, which is the most important factor. It is very important to first understand what risk of bias means. Risk of bias is defined as the error or deviation from the truth or the level of correctness of a paper. It is, let me provide an example here. Say, for example, it is evening here and I am observing it. So I may state that it is evening here, but I may not state that it is evening worldwide, because some people might be experiencing sunlight now. So while conducting a literature review, one might get carried away to show only the positive points of their subject or the case that we are presenting, and not highlight the more negative points that need to be shown for a more comprehensive understanding or for a better understanding of the subject area. So the allowed risk of bias, that is how much risk of bias is allowed, also determines the type of review. Now, based on these four different factors, the time frame, methodological details, risk of bias, and comprehensiveness, we can summarize the different reviews here. A narrative review is a very customizable review. It is dependent on the author on how much understandable they want to make it. That is the comprehensiveness. And the time required to write a review depends on the research area as well as the author. No methods are required for this review, and however, because of these leniencies, the risk of bias increases highly in narrative review. For the rapid review, scoping review, and systematic review and meta-analysis, the time frame increases progressively from the rapid review, which as its namesake, is conducted very fast, and a scoping review requires much more time than that, while a systematic review and meta-analysis requires a large amount of time. While there are no methodological details required for a rapid review, scoping reviews and systematic reviews both require elaborate methodologies that need to be published. The risk of bias is high while writing a rapid review, but for a scoping review it decreases, and for a systematic review and meta-analysis, almost no risk of bias exists. The rapid review might have a very incomplete assessment of available literature, but a scoping review encompasses all the available literature in a subject area, while a systematic review and meta-analysis analyzes that available literature for a more productive understanding or assessment. Now that we know a comparison of all the four types of reviews, let us delve a little deeper into what each of the review has to offer and what are the limitations of each. For a rapid review, it is characterized by a very precise question, and it is characterized by a very precise question and a very limited database search is required for this kind of review. The keywords and variables that need to be used here are very limited, and very basic quality check is required here, and sometimes the quality check is also skipped. This leniencies or such short measures need to be taken for making urgent decisions that influence policies regarding healthcare or public welfare. And this is what is the advantage of writing a rapid review, which as its namesake is very rapid and fast and helps to make very urgent decisions. But because of this leniency of writing in a very fast time period, the risk of bias increases exponentially, and the absence of quality checks also may form a very inadequate and inconsistent and substandard review literature. Say for example, I'll provide an example here of a rapid review. During COVID-19 in the previous news, a number of rapid reviews came up that helped in making medicines and vaccines more faster than would have been possible if there would have been a long review that needed to be done before using it for making vaccines. Next, we move on to narrative review. A narrative review is a more flexible review. It has a broader research question that needs to be addressed and serves as a general but accurate guide to what is already known in a topic. It helps us identify the gaps that are present in the research area, and it can help us establish a theoretical and methodological framework for future research. This narrative review may be limited by the selection bias, that is more advantageous or more limited articles may be included in the narrative review by the author. It is less systematic and has no predefined strategy, which may lead to very highly variable data in the review. This is appropriate for first-year students who are initiating in their understanding of how scientific studies are conducted. Next, we move on to scoping reviews. The scoping reviews also have a broad question, but the scoping review must include all relevant studies that are present for a particular research area, and it must identify the scope and extent of existing studies. Since this identifies all the relevant studies present in a particular subject area, the number of studies that are compiled for formulating this review is very high, is very large. Like systematic reviews, scoping reviews also follow a predefined search strategy and methodology, and they should also be replicable in their methods. That is, if one person conducts a scoping review on one topic, say for example cancer, and the second person also conducts a scoping review on the same topic, both of them should arrive at the similar conclusion, or at least have a similar plethora of relevant studies. That is, the number of studies should be same for each one of the authors. This study is useful, this review is useful to study such topics which cannot be analyzed through systematic reviews because of their heterogeneous or complex contents. And this review does not need any quality assessment, and no critical analysis of available literature is also required here. The scoping review can be challenging as establishing boundaries may be difficult in writing this kind of review. one cannot limit how many different articles one needs to include in their review. It cannot be undertaken to understand, it can be undertaken to understand more about a topic and as a practice workout for systematic review, but cannot and should not be used to inform policy or practice. This review can be used most effectively to identify gaps in an existing body of literature, since it encompasses all existing literature. I request everyone to please switch off their to mute their audios. Because it identifies all existing literature, it will also be helpful in identifying gaps in the existing literature. Coming to systematic reviews, it is the most important or most prominent type of review that is now known to scientists or researchers. It is a systematic search. It comprises of a systematic search, appraisal, and synthesis of research evidence. It reports clearly, transparently, and is always reproducible and used to achieve, and is always reproducible. That is, as like a scoping review, if two authors conduct a systematic review using the same keywords and the same methodology, they must arrive at a similar conclusion. This increases the reproducibility and the authenticity of a systematic review. A systematic review is beneficial because it gathers all relevant knowledge on a very specific topic, which might be useful for researchers working on this particular topic, and it includes in quantitative, qualitative, as well as mixed methods, and produces a very critical assessment of all those methods together. Because of the inclusion criteria, rigorous inclusion criteria that is used in systematic reviews, they might restrict the insights or the insights that one can gain from all the information that they have collected. This review is very time consuming. It takes a long period of time to conduct this review, and it is usually a team effort and cannot be individually processed. This review is mostly conducted to answer a specific question related to an intervention, diagnostic test, or other health or healthcare topics. This is used to summarize reliable information and based on rigorous and unbiased methods. And this is also used to synthesize or understand a variety of study designs such as mixed methods, qualitative methods, and quantitative subjects or specific topic. The next topic that we should discuss is meta-analysis, which is an extension of systematic reviews, and this can only be conducted after a systematic review has been completed. This helps us in more statistically summarizing the findings of a study that has already been systematically presented in a particular systematic review. Conducting a meta-analysis is more difficult because it requires all the included studies to be statistically similar. That is, the population or intervention or comparisons used in the studies must be similar for a comparison in the meta-analysis, for a statistical comparison in the meta-analysis. These kind of studies on meta-analysis are used to improve the precision of a statistical review and to answer questions that cannot be addressed by individual studies, and to settle controversies that arise from seemingly conflicting studies or to generate new hypotheses. Now, to conduct a systematic review and meta-analysis, there are certain methods and guidelines that one must follow, such as the Center for Reviews and Disseminations guidelines that are specifically for helping health researchers to understand the proper conducting and practices while making a systematic review. The Cochrane Handbook for Systematic Reviews of Interventions is also a very important guideline, which includes the guidance on the standard methods applicable to every review. But these guidelines are not used in most reviews, such as narrative reviews and rapid reviews. This is a very important guideline that must be followed for writing a systematic review and a meta-analysis. For the meta-analysis, chapter 10 of Cochrane training, that is the analyzing data and undertaking meta-analysis, should be followed rigorously. The Reviewer's Manual from Joanna Briggs Institute is also a comprehensive guide that is made primarily for conducting systematic reviews, but it also covers a broad range of questions and study designs. While conducting a systematic review and meta-analysis, the PRISMA checklist must always be presented, and a PRISMA statement must be addressed, which is a 27-item checklist that ensures proper and transparent reporting for each element in a systematic review and meta-analysis. Now that we know all the four different types of reviews, let us summarize and compare all the different reviews. Now, for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, the protocol is always required before conducting it, and the protocol must be registered on sites such as Prospero, JBI, and OSF. The protocols are also required for scoping and rapid reviews, but these are not often published, and the protocol registration can be done for scoping reviews on JAPI, OSF, Research Registry, and other registries, and for rapid reviews only in OSF and Research Registry. A comprehensive search is required for systematic review, meta-analysis, and scoping reviews all. Duplication or excuse me. Yeah, so duplication or the reproducibility of systematic reviews, meta-analysis, and scoping review is very essential. The systematic reviews and meta-analysis require critical appraisals, and both require statistical analysis, which makes them the most different from all the other types of reviews, because no other reviews contain or require statistical analysis of the obtained evidence of previous research. So because of the statistical analysis, the time required is the most for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, and it is more than almost 1 year. While for a narrative review, the least amount of time is required, which is 6 months to 1 year, because no protocol or registration or comprehensive search or appraisals and statistical analysis is required for this type of review. But for a scoping review, apart from the statistical analysis, all the other factors and critical appraisal, all the other factors are almost similar to systematic review. So there is a very thin hairline difference between these two kinds of reviews, but only this particular area differentiates them. Now that we know all the different types of reviews and their comparisons, let us see some common mistakes that people that people commit while writing a systematic review and even normal reviews, such as narrative reviews. People often do not use appropriate keywords and control vocabulary. Control vocabulary here means a particular phrase should be presented just as they are. Say, for example, a medical term cannot be written in a cannot be searched for in a very colloquial manner. The key databases that need to be searched, such as PubMed or Medline or other different databases, are not always included. That is, some people may only include data that they obtain from PubMed and uh, ignore Medline, but that should not be done. Databases should always be more inclusive, that is, more number of databases should be included in obtaining literature reviews articles for writing a literature review. The searches that the authors conduct, that is the number of articles that they obtain or how they obtain the articles, the number of keywords used, and which keywords were used and which acronyms were used, are sometimes poorly documented, and because of this poor documentation, some researches, some reviews are not replicable, and that becomes a very big drawback while publishing. One must always develop a very comprehensive protocol before starting the search for reviews or for different research articles. But if one does not, then the researches become very haphazard and have no protocol that can be defined in the research article, in the review. Peer review for search strategies is also lax in some cases. People sometimes forget to limit the justification, to justify the limits that they used in searching. Say, for example, one might search for colorectal cancer and not search for colon cancer, but they need to justify why they limited their search. The most common policy or common mistake that people conduct is setting up very unrealistic project timelines. This often happens to students when they are pressured by their peers or by their guides to write a systematic review for publishing in a very short period of time. This should not be done because it effectively reduces the quality and the quantity of the project of the review, and it leads to very poorly documented reviews. And general failure to follow standards in methods and reporting is commonly observed too. So while writing a review, one must always have in mind that one should start with a very clear research question or topic to guide the research. They must include a number of databases and search engines to ensure that they have thoroughly covered all relevant literature that is available for a particular subject area. They must refine their subject search results using Boolean operators and truncation or techniques that are used for advanced searches. They must keep track of all the search terms and results in an organizational tool or a spreadsheet. And to keep this organized, they can use previously used, or they can themselves create a system to organize and store their articles. Previous systems such as Zotero or Mendeley can be used. Data management software or reference management software available online. One must always remember to take detailed notes on each article and their authors, dates, methodology, and key findings. That will make it easier to synthesize information later by consistently formatting the notes. One must always remember to review and update their records regularly so that they can ensure being accurate and up to date. Before submitting a manuscript, one must always remember that paraphrasing and summary must be done before submitting to reduce the plagiarism in your material. They must not simply copy and paste directly from the source. They can paraphrase their content to detect the plagiarism that irrelevantly stays in the manuscript. One can use detection tools such as Turnitin or Grammarly and reduce plagiarism to acceptable levels. One must always remember to cite in the styles that is required by the academic institution or the relevant publishing agency, and also always remember to quote sources. Now that we know what is literature review and what are its contents and different characteristics, we should know why it is important for research. So, because of from a literature review, we can understand or interpret whatever is existing, whatever research has already been done, that is through the existing literature. It helps us understand the different thought processes of different researchers that have worked previously on that subject area. It also indicates the position or the place at which the research is currently present. This helps us in calculating the impact of whatever relevant information is present latest. And because of because we know all the research that has been done, we can also easily identify the research gaps that can be used for further exploration in the particular subject area. And this helps us understand the information of a particular subject through relevance and coherence. So, although the human mind is a very novice instrument and always has new ideas, one must always go through literature reviews to have a more coherent idea, which will lead to better research ideas. Coherence here is, say for example, you have very jumbled up thoughts, and then reading a review will help you delineate whatever information is there. This is increased coherence, and this will help us understand the subject area better and get better research ideas for the future. So as Carl Sagan famously said, you have to know the past to understand the present. So start your reviewing journey today and get help if required, and keep writing more reviews. Thank you for attending this webinar. I hope you enjoyed the session and found the information useful. We also look forward to interacting with you again in the next webinar. And for now, if you are interested in our services, please visit our website or contact us for prompt replies. And now I will be turning over to Dr. Sonu for the question and answer session. Please leave your questions in the chat box. Yes. You may please proceed with your questions.
لا بس بالباسبور بتاعك تمام ولا ايه؟
Hello.
خلاص تمام
Who am I speaking to? I'm sorry, you are not audible. Please raise your volume. Who am I speaking to again? Hello? Yes, Dr. Saroj Kumar Khan, please.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Hello, good evening.
Ma'am, my name is Mohammad Ibrahim. Recently, I have completed my first research paper. Topic is
Okay.
business analytics.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, can you suggest me the fast publication and affordable and reputed journal?
I should be transferring you to the expert here. Dr. Somu, you may please address his question.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello, Dr. Soumya, are you available? Dr. Soumya, you are not audible. Please. Okay. Yes, may I please know who was questioning? I'm sorry for this unprecedented event. Please tell me who are you?
My name is Adam. I'm from I'm a new writer and looking for a publisher or a new author to you with me together to show me some information about how to read or write or to deal together. Thank you.
All right. So the thing is, I'm really sorry, but I am not an expert in business analytics, so it will not be right for me to suggest any proper journal. But you can take help from our extensive panel of reviewers present with us. If you want to know more, please contact us through our website or our email ID for support.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for attending.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Is there someone else who needs to know something?
Rena, I am audible right now.
Yeah, you're audible, sir.
We are mostly trying their basic, sorry for the difference. Yeah, I'll be happy to go out on that. It's a paper that we have written. So we'll be doing one that will be just ignore mail ID, scope mail ID. If you want to please shoot a mail with all the requirements made, of your publications, providing that will information in your transcript. You don't need to hope I have
Hello? Yes? Hello? Is someone?
Will be doing that.
There's a lot of background noise in your, please try to speak more coherently. Yes. Sure.
Hello, hi.
Hi there.
Thank you so much for the presentation today. It's just like
You're
that
welcome.
my network wasn't the greatest. It was cutting off and on. So I was
Okay.
wondering, you said you're gonna send it to us. So is it via email or is it here?
Okay, you can contact our support for that.
Yeah,
Hello,
can you
say
hear me?
again?
Can you hear me, Brenda?
Yes, I can hear you now, sir.
Okay. Yeah, hi. We got your point that you want to know that whether the slides will be sent over here or over the mail. We'll be sending you over the mail. Since the chat
Okay.
format will be difficult for us to send over here, we'll be definitely sending you to the mail.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you so much for this. And yeah, have a lovely afternoon.
Same to you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
you too.
Any more questions from anyone?
Okay, so Dr. Saroj Kumar Khan has asked in the chat if about English literature fiction novels publication. So he claims that manuscript ready by pen, but from English typing to publications of publisher. Please address this, Dr. Samu.
Yeah, I got Dr. Saras Kumar Khan's questions that I have one offer that I have 2 literature fiction novels which can be published without cost, only 40% profit is will take. With regard to that, kindly please mail us that we'll be just giving over here so that we can address whatever your requirements and we'll be replying ASAP over there. Okay, thanks a lot.
So there's another question by Muhammad Ibrahim. Are you
Yeah,
present?
yeah, Mohammed Ibrahim, are you present now?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir.
Sorry that you have to wait for a technical glitch. Yeah, I got your question. That is, you have completed your first research paper on topic business analysis. Yes, we are providing the journal selection research and we are also providing the publication support to our esteemed clients. You'll be doing, you have to do a bit of work that we'll be sending you the mail ID. We just shoot a mail to the mail ID and we'll definitely be helping you out with all your requirements, that whether you require improvement in your content and whether you make it a publication ready or not. We'll be just looking into it and we'll give you all the tentative charges and what works will be done on your manuscript. So kindly, I'm just writing the mail over here. You just suit all your requirements in the mail. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, sir. Kriti Snigdha Patnaik has a question here. Please address that in the chat box.
Okay.
So she's asking if people can provide recommendations for future research in a literature review.
Okay. Can you provide recommendations for future research in literature? Yes, definitely. Since in literature review, what actually we do is we analyze, we synthesize from the current research and the existing research in a particular topic of the field. So whenever we do a literature review, it's not only the summarizing, we are also trying to giving a new perspective. We are looking into the same problem from a different perspective. And in case we found that not many research has been done, or there are lacunae in the methodology, lacunae in the findings, or there is a discrepancy in the findings, the conflicting in the findings, definitely it can be addressed in the future research. That always go to the next sections, the last sections of the literature review, where we discuss what are the future implications for this, that whether the existing research, if it has a heterogeneous methodology, then definitely the findings are not going to be very much generalized. So in that session, we need to write what future researchers or what future research strategies should be taken for that particular field or that
particular domain. So you are pretty much right that we need to provide recommendations for future research in literature review. Pawan Kumar, I got a question that is, can you give a brief idea on how to read the research paper? It's a very interesting question. Yes, there are a number of strategies, number of approaches. It all depends upon your expertise level also. With your gaining with experience, you'll definitely be knowing that how we can first read the research paper. But at a very novice level, I'm just going to tell you, first read the title. When you read the title, if it suits your topic or not, then just go and have a look at the abstract. Abstract is all the synopsis of the total entire manuscript. Going to the abstract, you'll know that whether this research paper is meeting your exact need, requirement, or the concerns or not. Once you are well and good with the abstract, then you can slowly travel into the introduction section, then through the next section like this. So once you go through the abstract and the introduction, if you are interested, go to the methodology to see how they have conducted this study, or how they have achieved their objectives. So once you're done with the methodology, you'll be definitely be interested to know the result sections. So with regard to the fastness, that how you can analyze the research paper, which part or sections should be addressed first, I would suggest go for the abstract sections, then the methods, because the methods are very important. If it's not fitting exactly to the objectives what has been written in the introduction and the abstract, then the results and discussions are going to be biased. And once you are done over that, then go to the results section to see that what results they have obtained. Hope I have addressed your question. And to all the participants, that you'll be very much happy and delighted to know that Recipro Scientific Services, which is the vastest concern of the ManuscriptEdit, we have launched the Recipro journals, having a plethora of journals under our belt. And if you are most welcome to submit your research papers, we'll be happy to help you out on content improvement and publications, and getting your manuscript published in our reputed journals. So kindly do visit on our Facebook, or we are in the Insta and also in the Twitter. Keep updating you with all the new upcomings in our journals through the mail also. So this is just a new exciting news for you, so that you all can have a manuscript in your name. Yeah, Swati Mishra, I got your question that how to understand that sufficient literature has been searched to validate the research question or hypothesis for a review. Yeah, this is also a very nice, interesting question, that how to understand that whether you have done with research or not. See, there are different type of guidelines over there. We have a Prisma guideline for the systematic review. We have CASP guidelines also, that is from the UK. So when we do a literature review, we follow certain guidelines. So once you screen out what type of literatures you're targeting, your interest and your research objectives, and once you hit all those screening and you have done according to the guidelines, that is by reading the abstract, by putting all your exclusion inclusion criteria into the context, then you'll get a set of articles. Now if you again restart the process by another researcher, which we usually use the term the triangulation, that carrying out the same process by another researcher to reduce the bias, and if they also get the same type of outcomes as per you, or you are not getting any more new conceptuals based work or literatures or studies with the new findings, then you'll be knowing that, okay, I'm hitting the saturation and just to stop over here. So through this only you can know that whether you have reached the sufficient level of literature has been searched or not. This is one strategy. The other strategy is the number of databases you are hitting. If you are hitting 1 or 2 databases, so you might be fall short of the literatures, or you might get a false perception that, okay, I have done it. So try to increase your search criteria to the number of databases by increasing your keywords, by including maze terms, using Boolean algebra like and or. Through this, you can definitely understand that whether you are getting the right amount of literature to be addressed or not. The effective strategy would be using different keywords, different databases, and whether you are getting the saturated literatures or not. And using a tool, especially the Rayman tool is used for literature review. If you're using that, it will definitely help you or assist you in understanding that whether you are getting saturated data or not. I hope I have answered your question, Ms. Shwati Misra. And coming
Thank
to
you, sir.
next to Mr. Pavan Kumar, is there any gateway to download research articles apart from Sci-Hub? Yes, Sci-Hub is an it's a pirated forum. Either another way is, yes, definitely you can do it through the ResearchGate, or there is academia.edu in ResearchGate. You can also shoot a simple request that I want this research paper. They'll be happy to provide you all the researchers and academicians over there. And many times the original authors also send their papers. You can just shoot a mail that I am interested in this in your research, and that research publications of yours will be helpful in carrying out my research work. Just describe your research work in 2 or 3 sentences and simply request them for the research paper. Most of the time the authors are very much happy to share the research papers if it is not publicly or open access to all. So kindly do maintain this strategy, it will help you out. Or if your friends are networking with having a good library access, then they can definitely help you out. Even you can understand in India we have an IIT Kharagpur who have an open library access to have all the research papers. You can go through their website and you can access it. Hope Mr. Pavan Kumar, I have answered your question and help you what you are actually looking for.
Thank you, sir, for your useful answer. Dr. Saroj Kumar Khan has been raising his hand. Are you present, sir?
Yeah, Dr. Saroj Kumar Khan, can you hear us?
Dr. Saroj Kumar Khan, if you can hear us, please join us on the audio. Okay, sir, I think he might not be available or he might not be able to hear us. Let's move on to the next question that has been asked by Ria. She has asked, what are the significant tips for scientific researcher and our best resources to be at?
Okay. Can you just repeat the question once again, Prerna?
Yeah, sure, sir. Ria has asked, what are the significant tips for a scientific researcher and our best resources to act?
Okay. I assume this question is related to the publications and the writing part, since this is a webinar for the same. With regard to the research strategy and the resources, it's very diverse. It depends actually on the what type of what's the subject or field domain where you are doing research. Suppose you are doing in the management section, then the databases where you'll be finding your literatures will be very much different from if somebody is doing the life science also. With regard to the purpose and the objective also, it changes. Suppose if you are having the field work as in your research objective, then the research journals who publish such field work, they differ. There are certain journals which publish in a very much non-academic manner, and they're very much reputed and have high impact factors too. And on the contrary, there are very highly reputed journals like Nature, Science, and Cell. Those are the stalwarts in the life science field. So it all depends upon what is your purpose, what is your objective, and in which field you are actually doing your research. Then only we can help you out exactly at what research strategy will best suit you, or what are the best resources for your research. I hope I have answered you.
Thank you, Dr. Somu, for the wonderful answer. We have another question from Shubham Vishwas. He's asking if we can assist him in writing a review paper or research paper from scratch if he provides our organization a topic as well as publishing, as well as can we publish it in Q1 journal?
Yeah, hi Shubham, I hope you're doing good. Yeah, definitely we are here only for that. This webinar was for our clients, for our new clients, for our new customers, or you can say all the information seekers like the students, academicians, and the researchers. Yes, we definitely can assist you in writing a review paper if you have your idea, if you have the topic, or you have your objectives ready, even if not ready, our experts can definitely help you out working as a consultant to you, that how you can develop your research paper writing from the scratch and till the publications. We can help you out over that. With regard to the publishing in the Q1 journal, yes, definitely the client needs and the concerns are our most priority. So we'll definitely be helping you out from developing a manuscript that is very well eligible for that to be published in the Q1 journal. So you can drop a mail that we have already said here, and we'll be sharing it once again with you. Uh, so that our support team can help you out and what exactly your requirements are. It will go through the very strategic process, and you will be in the loop at every stage of your manuscript development, so that you can know that how transparent you work and how much quality content you deliver to our client. So stay with us, stay connected with us. We are definitely going to help you out on this, and this is for also all the other participants over here. Yes, we do provide such helps to our clients writing from scratch, or it's from rewriting, editing, substantial editing, or the proofreading, or reducing your plagiarism and improvising. If you want to publish in any type of journals, whether Q1, Q2, Q3, or the Q4 imperfecto based, we definitely can help you out. So kindly reach to us with the mail ID that we'll be sharing with you, or you can visit the ManuscriptEdit.com and just shoot a mail over there in the chat. We'll definitely be helping you out. I hope, Subham, I have answered your question.
Hello, sir. Thank you for your answer. Dr. Suraj Kumar Khan has joined us, I think. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, I'm listening.
Hello, Dr. Suraj Kumar. Are you there? If you need to ask something, please respond.
Saraj Kumar, can you please write down your question if you are not able to hear us? Just a minute, Prerna. I'll be.
You have seen my what I sent to you yesterday by transferring. I have beat transfer. I have transferred you. I don't know how आपने बोला था publish dot.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Saraj Kumar Khan. Can you please mute?
Yeah.
Hello, Dr. Khan. If you have a question, please ask, or please mute for your personal talks. Hello, Dr. Khan. Am I audible? Okay, sir. Let's move on. Host so Martina Gagliotti, I think. She has asked if there will be a recording will be available.
Yeah, we'll be sending the recording to your mail.
Okay. Is there anyone else who needs to ask something? Who needs to know? Please send your questions in the chat, or you can even directly join us on audio.
Hello.
Hello, yes.
When you are starting this webinar?
Hi, sir. I'm sorry I didn't get you. Please come again.
When you are going to start the webinar?
Sir, we actually just ended our webinar. This is the question and answer session that is going on right now.
Pardon?
So we started the webinar at 4 o'clock and we have actually ended the webinar, and this is the question and answer session that is going on right now.
Okay. Oh.
So if you have any questions, you are welcome to ask.
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your interest. Please,
Thank you.
please attend the next webinar.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh.
Is there anyone else who needs to know something? Is there any other questions? Okay, sir, if you are still available, please provide your email ID so that we can send you a recording.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Martina, I'm sorry for the problems that you faced.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm sorry too, but I was connected at the beginning, but no one was ready, so I'm sorry now. I will have a look on the recording. Okay.
Okay. Please join us on the next webinar, and please go to the recording, and if you have any questions or any further requirements, please contact us through our
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you, Elizabeth. Do you have any questions? Okay. Thank you for attending the webinar. Please keep attending the next webinars and stay connected. I can see now that there are no more questions. Thank you. There's someone named iPhone. Please, if you can, please tell us your real name to the chat so that we can connect with you and send you the recording to the email.
Okay, Pranay, I'm just typing the mail ID so that every person or any participant want any more information or any query, they can search, drop a mail over there and we can address that. So the available participants, the 36 participants who are online over here, and we have the others recording also. So I'm just shooting the mail over here. Kindly drop your query after this webinar is over so that we can address you.
Thank you, sir, for your considerate move. Please do the same.